All right. So my first question, what is the estimated what is the estimated annual cost of teacher recruitment, onboarding, and training?
At Bultum Academy, we don't really have a lot of upfront cost for hiring. We use a free version of Zillow, ZipRecruiter, and a statewide teacher recruitment website. So we don't really spend a lot of money. But there are times when we need teachers urgently, and we would pay 2 to 3 day worth of rate on Zillow, which cost us about 20, not 220, about $250 to $500. So that's the cost of new
Teacher
teacher
recruitment.
acquisition. Yeah.
Mm,
In terms of training and development,
mm,
a lot of our cost for that comes from training teachers with the curriculum. So when we get a new curriculum, we spend about 1,000 to 2,500 on the curriculum trainings a year, I would say. And then obviously we don't really have a lot of outside training because we have 2 instructional coaches, but their costs are part of salary, so it's not an extra cost, So it's so not a lot of upfront cost to get people on the team.
makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. So my next question is, how many teachers have left the school each year since it opened?
Each year since it opened. Let me see if I can get you, because I would be guessing.
Okay.
Um, and then does this include teachers leaving willingly or ones that were let go as well?
I say in general, like overall, just to get like a rough estimate of yeah,
And then you want the number for each year?
yeah, each year.
Oh yeah, घर का बोलेंगे ऐसा? Babe, babe. Good Lord, everyone. This doesn't really have. Maybe I can just go to inactive. Um, I think averaging out teachers, I would say about about 3 to 4 a year.
3 to 4 year teachers left since it opened.
Well, every year.
Okay,
So if you add it up this is our 4th year.
so about like 12-ish.
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. And then for the next question, how does turnover affect scheduling, substitute usage, and administrative workload? Because I know this is like a
Yeah,
big
I
one.
think turnover is probably the most taxing in terms of administrative role because you have to now plan every day in terms of who's going to sub for that topic, who's
Mm,
licensed to cover that grade level. And then you're at the same time, you're trying to recruit and find new employees. And then you're doing the whole interview process. And then the schedule affects pretty much more than just that class because you have to find ways to accommodate for that schedule. So sometimes you have to pull people from intervention, from ELL, from SPED. So it affects multiple roles and multiple student groups, even more than that specific class.
Mm.
And then you obviously have to go through the interview process, trying to find people. So overall, it's a big spike in administrative workload for sure.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, what part of the school budget could potentially support low-cost retention initiatives?
What part of the budget could potentially
Because I know
support?
you, yeah, for the last time I interviewed you, you talked about like how there's certain grants that go to like certain things. So like what like parts of the school budget could like, potentially help support it or like support the low cost
Yeah, that's
retention.
a good question. I think there are a lot of federal and state mandates
Mm.
that come around, and they come with certain amount of money. One of them, for example, is the READ Act, which comes with a certain amount of funds for the person responsible for ensuring the implementation of that initiative, and that comes with its own kind of funding. So you can use that to pay the staff
Or
for
whatever.
for the extra work or for that training. Um, I think most of it would probably come from, I would say, staff development, because that's part of recruiting and developing staff. Is kind of the same line of, I guess, work. Therefore, I think that would be where the money would probably come from. Are you saying in terms of like getting them from a different category into this? So like, what would you give up in order to, I guess, improve this? Is the question?
I feel like, but the thing with that is, I feel like the budget used for those certain areas are needed for that. So I feel like you can't even pull those budgets. So I just feel like I mean, you essentially you answered the question. I feel like the READ Act. That's a good answer for that question.
Okay.
All right. So my next one, what non-salary oh, what non-salary incentives are currently offered, if any?
What non-salary incentives are offered?
If any, is there any like
I mean, I feel like we've kind of talked about this already.
yeah
It's just like the
support?
Friday short days.
Yeah.
We have our calendar, I would say, is a bit more flexible than most calendars. For example, we had like Wednesday, a few days before Thanksgiving off, compared to schools that only get the last 2 days off.
Mm.
Um, so there's a little bit of, I would say, we just try to offer that,
Like
you know,
workload.
ex- extra days here and there. Friday, short day, obviously. Um, and I think the biggest one for teachers is just that extra support of having two instructional coaches. I think that is a huge incentive for a lot of teachers, especially new teachers. That guidance, I think, makes the world of a difference when you're coming into a new profession, which is very taxing and demanding. To have someone there to support you, I think, it's a huge incentive.
Okay. All right, and then for the last question, it's a bit of a weird question, I'll say. What financial or operational limits must be respected when implementing new retention strategies?
Can you ask the question again?
You know. What financial or operational limits must be respected when implementing new retention strategies?
I think one is you can't compromise the school's mission and vision, and you can't compromise the school's procedural norms and things like that when you're hiring.
Mm.
So basically, even when you're put in a corner, you have to stick to kind of your mission and vision, your high standards, your set of procedures. and basically go through the process, right? Because if you don't have a process and you don't have basically not throwing your
Values and morals.
out the door because you're put in a situation where you have to make a decision.
Okay. All right. That's pretty much it. That's all the questions I had. I appreciate you, Mr. Regesa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Gutu.